Mitch, everybody! How are we doing? Hope everybody is okay today. Hope everyone's doing alright. Deuterium, have you ever been interested / obsessed on something that basically sticks into your personality? When I was a child, a lot. Oh, you suggested the Cuphead DLC. Is that the free one? Sandwiches with extra pieces of Lay's. Crisp sandwiches. Them the OG. Sandwich with extra coffee. You guys know me. Cat Reboo. Hello, welcome to this stream. How you doing? Sandwichy. Roblox Buddy 10. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Hope everyone's having a good time. Let me just fix my audio output capture. There will be no lo-fi girl today because I've had an interesting idea. Something to have on in the background whilst I research. Just gotta set it up now. That's my desktop. You don't want to see that. Let me see. There's Jesus. Oh yeah, I was gonna find the thing I was looking. No, that's Yorktown block of Destiny. Yes. What did I miss? Cabinet Battle number 1. Here we go. Billy Bear sausage sandwich. Nope. Never had it. I didn't know you were a VTuber, said Mike Drewson. Very few people do, it seems. Anyway, let's display capture. Get my display capture up, shall I? Make it a wee bit smaller. And insert. Window capture, I think it'll probably have to be. Which one is it? It'll be. Here we are. Has it found it? Don't think it has. Can't find the window. That's silly. Okay, remove it then. Okay, browser? No, hang on, that's not going to work either. Now I need to get rid of that. Remove. What's your favourite video that I've made? Probably the Yakko's World one, to be honest. Yeah, I'm pretty basic like that. Game capture work for some inane reason. Is it going to capture that? Is that going to work? No, it's not. Okay. Hi, poop face. Hello. How are you? Hello, Sir X. How you doing? Come on, is this thing going to work? How am I going to get this thing to work? Media source? That's not going to work either, I don't think, actually, no. I really ought to have done this before I started streaming, shouldn't I? Gosh. Alright. Wait. I'm going to be source mirror? No. Is it going to be... Tried window capture, it didn't work before. Right, that's still not working, so remove, I guess. I'm going to have to find some other way of doing this, I think. On. Here it is. Here it is on YouTube. Let's go ahead and shuffle play. That sounds like a good idea. But let's start with this one. Shuffle on. I wonder if people will actually recognise this.
A town is full of buildings, some tall, some short, some wide, and some narrow. The buildings are flats and houses and factories and shops. They're built in streets. The streets have cars and buses and lorries driving along them.
Trying to get this
Do you
busy
live in
thing
a
to
town?
work. Why is it not working?
Mary, Mungo, and
Okay,
Midge
I'll just have to do this in a slightly odd way.
live in this town. They live with
Quick pop-up player like this. This should hopefully
They
work.
live with Mary's mother and father in this tall block of flats.
This is just going to have to live in the
They
bottom
live
right of the
right
screen.
at the top. There are 8 flats built on top of each other. Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in the flat with the
Because I could
flowers
do
growing
this.
in the window box. There's Mary. There's Mungo. And there's Midge.
Because if I then do display capture, I could
Mary,
go...
Mungo and Midge have a large sunny room to play in. A room full of games and toys and picture books. Mary's
works, this
always
works
got
fine.
something to do. Today she's painting patterns in her painting book. Mungo
this will do
is making
just fine.
patterns too. He's printing them with his paw.
Sounds like it came from What the Dub. That's probably because it came from the 60s.
Mary's other friend is Midge Mouse. He's usually very difficult to find because he's so small and runs very quickly. He's inquisitive.
So
That means he's always trying to find out things.
hopefully,
Ha, there he
that
is.
should be a
By
nice
Mary's pots of paint.
thing for you
I
guys
wonder
to
which colour
peruse.
Midge likes best. Red? Yellow? Or blue?
Come on.
I know what he does like. Music.
This is a... Why wasn't there a stream
He likes
last week?
music
Because
so
last week
much
I was
that
going
he's
to
learned to
see
play a flute.
the
But
show.
he's only learnt one tune so far.
I was going
You
to...
listen.
I was going to see a show on the Saturday. The Friday, there was going to be a tabletop game, but mental health issues meant it had to be cancelled. What was I going to say? I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, this week's Sat Chat is definitely back though, so don't worry. Yep, tis Mary, Mungo and Midge.
What are you doing, Mary?
Painting patterns, Midge. You see?
And what are you doing, Mungo? I'm printing patterns, Midge. Painting, printing, printing, painting. What's the difference between painting and printing?
Well, Midge, when you paint a pattern, you do it just once with a paintbrush, and it takes quite a long time.
But you can make the same pattern lots and lots
That'll
of
work
times
fine.
by printing
Maybe
it,
above
as
the
I
stream.
was doing with my paw.
Probably not actually.
But supposing you want to
I
print
wasted
a
10
different
minutes on Mary,
Well,
Mungo and Midge.
You can print a pattern
okay,
with a potato as well, or rather, half a potato.
pattern. How?
By cutting bits of potato away
So
so that it
I
leaves
was
a pattern on the top.
Trying to find
It's called a potato
Jefferson
cut.
assuming office.
Look. Now, if I dip it in the paint and press it on the paper, it prints the pattern on the paper. And I can print the same pattern again and again. There.
Okay.
Oh! Can I make a potato pattern?
I've just used the last potato, and we need some for dinner too.
Midge and I will go to the greengrocer's
look at
and
this.
buy some.
There's the shopping basket. There's money in it, and a note to the greengrocer's to ask him to give you some potatoes.
As they live in a flat right at the top of the building,
I don't know
Mungo
if I'm
and Midge
hilarious
go
about,
down
like,
to the street by the
old
lift.
Kids shows
They
and
have
old
a
kids
special
books.
way of doing it.
It's what adults think kids speak like.
Don't be long, boys.
We must remember to make sure the lift door is shut. But as usual, Midge was in too much of a hurry. He had jumped
What's
onto
that?
the back of a bicycle and was already on his way to the greengrocer's. There he goes. And there's the greengrocer's shop. Midge waited outside for Mungo. There were lots of fruit and vegetables. What about these? Oh no! Oh, they're onions! Ah, what's this? Midge, you're looking for potatoes, not marrows. Now where's he gone?
Ah, yes, I remember this.
Midge, those are
The other
bananas.
two keep spamming some ABS-CBN jingle of a little bit.
And that's a tomato. Potatoes. But I can't buy them. Mungo's got the money. Where's that mouse? Oh, there you are, Mungo. I've been waiting for you. While you buy the potatoes, I'll look in at the shop next door to see what they're selling. Well, don't be too long. Midge looked in the window of the shop next door, and the first thing he saw was a drawing of a black cat. Midge isn't very fond of cats, and to make matters worse, there wasn't just one cat, there was a whole row of cats, all exactly the same. And underneath each black cat, it said, "Happy birthday." Fancy sending a picture of a cat to somebody on their birthday. Then Midge
Mum has
thought of
recently
something
discovered
else.
capybaras. I do not blame her
Mary
for
had
loving them,
printed a
frankly.
row of potato patterns, exactly the same as each other. And now, here was a row of birthday cards, exactly the same as each other. I wonder if this shop prints those cards with potatoes like Mary does. I must find out.
The cats aren't really being portrayed as evil, it's just that Midge doesn't like him. Because he's a mouse.
Midge ran through the door. Inside, it was full of machines and men working, but no potatoes anywhere. Midge climbed onto the first table to have a better look. What's this? Stop, Midge. It's ink.
Hey, Henry Stateman, how you doing?
Then Midge saw the cat birthday card again. It was standing beside one of the machines. In the middle of the machine, Midge saw a piece of metal with the pattern of the cat sticking up on it. And underneath were two words. At first, Midge couldn't read what they said. They were the wrong way round. A. Happy birthday.
That's how you teach kids
Out
to
of the
read
way,
in primary
Mouse.
schools.
We want to print some more birthday cards here. Now you've got ink on your tail, too.
I agree, cats
The
are
man
nice.
put some of Midge's ink onto the machine. Another man put a pile of cards down. He pulled a lever. It made the roller cover the words and the cat with ink. Then the paper was lifted up and pressed against the pattern of the cat and the words. The birthday card was printed. But it wasn't dark enough. Charlie, it's too light. Could you put some more ink on this machine?
Oh, he is an inky mouse.
Birthday.
I was going to be able to take a break, I think.
That's better. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. The machine counted as each card was printed.
Okay, so
Midge watched the machine print the cat and happy birthday on all the cards. The machine stopped when it had printed 50. 50 cats! Oh! That's not a cat, that's a dog. It's Mungo. Oh, I forgot he's waiting for me. Here I am, Mungo. About time, too. Look at you. You're covered in paint. It's not paint. It's printer's ink. I've been watching some birthday cards being printed. All exactly the same.
I heard about that.
Oh.
And I'm gonna...
Come on. We must go home.
And I'm gonna be...
That's right. You can ride in the basket. Then I won't lose you again.
And I must confess, I hadn't actually heard of Technoblade before I heard of his passing. It's a shame, really.
Piper, read all about it. There's a pile of newspapers all the same. I suppose they get printed like the birthday cards. On very big printing machines, much bigger than you saw. We must hurry home.
What's Philip Hamilton's birth year?
When they got home, Mary's mother gave Mary, Mungo and Midge a potato each. I'm going to make a potato print birthday card of me. Why? So that I can give one to all my friends on their birthdays. As you only have 2 friends, Mary and myself, you'll only have to make 2 cards. And as we both know what you look like, why should we have a picture of you?
Mungo, let Midge print a picture of whatever he wants. But before you do anything else, Midge, you'd better get yourself clean. Look, you've made footprints all over my best drawing book.
Episode of that.
A town is full of buildings, some tall, some short, some wide, and some narrow. The buildings are flats and houses, and factories and shops. They're built in streets. The streets have cars and buses and lorries driving along them. A river runs through the middle of the town. The river has large boats and small boats on it. There's a bridge across the river so that the cars and buses and lorries can get to the buildings on the other side. The cars and buses and the streets are full of people. In fact, there are a lot of people in a town. Do you live in a town? Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in this town. They live with Mary's mother and father in this tall block of flats. They live right at the top. There are 8 flats built on top of each other. Mary, Mungo and Midge live in the flat with the flowers growing in the window box. There's Mary. There's Mungo. And there's Midge. Mary, Mungo and Midge have a large sunny room to play in.
a room full of games and toys and picture books. Mary's always very busy. She's always got something she wants to do. At the moment, she's seeing how high she can build her bricks. Mungo is helping her. Mungo is a wise old dog, so old and wise he can usually help Mary with whatever she's doing. Today, he's pushing the bricks over to her. He's got a very good flat nose, just made for pushing bricks. And where's Midge? There's a picture of him on the wall, but he's always very difficult to find because he's so small, and he runs from place to place very quickly. He's very inquisitive. That means he's always trying to find out things. Can you see him? I can't. He's not on the table and he's not on the chair. He's not in the toy cupboard. There he is, in that lorry. Midge is very fond of music. He's even learned to play his own tune on the flute. Listen. And now he's gone again. Mary's still building.
Please, can I have some more bricks, Mungo?
I've pushed so many my nose is sore. You want a crane, not a dog, to help you.
What's a crane?
A crane is for picking up very heavy things from one place and putting them down in another. All big building sites use cranes. They're building a new block of flats over there. I've just been watching. Then there must be a crane there. So Mary and Mungo went over to the window, and the first thing they saw was a crane. I knew it, I knew it, I knew there would be a crane. Where a big building is being built, there's always a crane.
Look, there's something moving along the top.
Something moving along the boom, you mean? Cranes have booms. And now there's something going down. Oh, I wish I could get closer. All right, Midge. I'll take you down to the building site.
I'll stay here and watch. Mind you behave yourself, Midge.
Mungo and Midge like going down in the lift. They have a special way of doing it.
Goodbye, boys. Be good.
Now then, Midge, we must always remember to make sure the lift door is shut. And then Mungo had a surprise. Midge wasn't there anymore. He was in such a hurry, he wasn't going to wait for Mungo. He ran straight out to the building site. The building site was full of strange things. Machines for pushing earth away, and machines for mixing up cement and sand to make concrete. But at last, Midge found himself right underneath the crane. My goodness, it looks even bigger and taller and more enormous than I thought. Then, as Midge watched, the boom at the top started to move round. The big wooden tray hanging underneath it was full of bricks. The tray moved up and along and down onto the building so that the builders could build it even higher. Midge was very interested and very excited. Then he saw the empty tray coming back and down. And this time, Midge was so excited that he hardly noticed that the tray was coming down right on top of him. Midge knew that he must run. So he ran till he was in a safe place, and he could watch the big wooden tray coming down to the ground. Then Midge watched the builders fixing a big girder to the crane.
A girder is made of steel, and it's used for making buildings stronger. And he watched another empty tray coming down. At last, a hooter hooted, and the crane stopped. The crane driver climbed out of the cabin of the crane. Midge climbed onto the top of a bucket and watched the crane driver and the other builders having a cup of tea. I thought the hooter would never go. It really has been a long morning. I could do with this cup of tea. It's thirsty work, driving a crane. Yes, and it's thirsty work tying up the loads, ready for the crane to lift them. Midge could think as fast as he could run, which was quite fast. He thought to himself, while they're having their tea, I'll pop up and have a look at the crane driver's cabin. After all, if he drives the crane from there, it must be very interesting. So Midge ran along as fast as he could and set off up the crane. It was a long way up. And it looked a very long way down. But he got there in the end. In fact, if you look carefully, you can just see him running up into the driver's cabin. And inside the cabin were switches and levers and buttons and levers and switches. The builders were too busy drinking their tea to notice Midge. They didn't notice Mungo either. All this time, Mungo had been looking for Midge. He saw the machine for pushing earth away, and he saw the machine for mixing concrete, but he couldn't see Midge anywhere, because Midge was high up in the crane driver's cabin, and Midge was very excited and very interested. Mungo sat down to get his breath back. He didn't know it, but he was sitting on the wooden tray which was fixed to the crane, and suddenly Midge started the crane working. Poor Mungo, he got a very nasty surprise. Then Midge looked out of the window of the cabin. He saw Mungo on the tray in the air and thought, "Oh, help! I must get Mungo down to the ground before the builders think he's something to be built into the building." But the builders had seen what was happening. "Who's that working my crane?" "There's a dog going up and down on it." "I'll soon stop that." But Midge was already trying to get Mungo back to the ground again. "That's not right, Midge. Try pushing it." "Yes, that's better." At last, Midge pushed the right lever the right way, and the crane took Mungo safely down to the ground again. By this time, the crane driver was nearly back in his cabin. He didn't see Midge coming down.
Your Tito's Suave is 5.
The workman
Welcome back
made
to
a fuss of
Welcome
Mungo.
back. How you doing?
"Poor dog, you must have been frightened." But Mungo wasn't frightened anymore. He was very cross, because he saw Midge running away from the crane, and he thought, "It's that mouse's fault. I'll chase him home."
Yes, indeed, I was pung.
Midge got back to the block of flats first. Mungo was close behind him. Midge ran up the stairs. Mungo took the lift. They met on the landing.
Why are you both so out of breath? And Mungo, whatever were you doing going up and down on the crane?
It was Midge's fault. Ask Midge. I wanted to find out how to make a crane work. Only I wasn't very good at making it do the right things at the right time. That's because you're only a mouse. Your head is too small to know about such things.
Now, boys.
Well, I do know what a crane does. It's got a long arm. Boom. It's got a long boom, and it picks things up and carries them across and puts them down.
Yes, a crane picks things up and puts them down. You'd better stay in your lorry for a while to keep you out of trouble.
That's a good idea, and I'll help Mary with her building. A town is full of buildings, some tall, some short,
Yeah, was that?
some wide, and
1794.
some narrow. The buildings are flats and houses and factories and shops. They're built in streets. The streets have cars and buses and lorries driving along them. The cars and buses and the streets are full of people. In fact, there are a lot of people in a town. Do you live in a town? Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in this town. They live with Mary's mother and father in this tall block of flats. They live right at the top. There are 8 flats built on top of each other. Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in the flat with the flowers growing in the window box. There's Mary. There's Mungo. And there's Midge. Mary, Mungo, and Midge have a large sunny room to play in. A room full of games, picture books, and toys. But today they've gone outside to the park. They've gone to the children's playground. Mary is having a swing. Mungo is sliding down the chute.
That was good, Mungo. Go on, do it again.
Midge is sitting on the seesaw. He's brought his flute with him. Midge likes music so much that he's learnt to play a flute. But he can only play one tune. I think he's ready to start.
Hold tight, Midge. Mungo and I will give you a seesaw.
Ooh, look at those big things going along the road.
They're gypsy caravans. They're being pulled by lorries and cars. And look, there are more of them over there. The gypsies who live in them paint patterns in bright colors on their caravans.
But if the caravans move along the road, how can people live in them?
Gypsies are people
Cartoons as
who
background
travel
noise.
around from place
Kind
to
of.
place.
Kind of borrowed that from
When they
Pixie
stop,
actually. She puts
they
Daily
live
Dose
in
of Internet on
caravans
sometimes
like
when
people
she's
live in houses or flats.
drawing.
Then they drive off to the next place.
Why?
These gypsies own a fair. They're going to put the fair up for a few days here, then they'll move it away to another town for a few days, and then to another town for a few days.
What's a fair?
A fair has swings and roundabouts.
Like the swings in this park?
Yes, but bigger. We're going to the fair tomorrow. You'll see it then.
Oh, how exciting!
The next day, Mary's mother and father took Mary, Mungo and Midge to the fair. It was very noisy, and there were people everywhere. Midge had never seen so many people in all his life. They had another look at the gypsy caravans. Most of the gypsies who lived in them were busy looking after the swings and sideshows at their fair. The swings were much larger than the ones in the park. They had a look at the roundabouts. There was a large one for grown-ups. It had horses to sit on, and it played music as it went round and round. Midge liked the music. There was a smaller roundabout too. Instead of horses, it had cars and funny-looking ducks. Midge was very excited and very interested.
Okay, here we go.
Mary had a ride
my
on a
help.
duck.
I'm going to look for...
Then they looked at the bumper cars. They were called bumper cars because they were made to bump into each other.
Index. I need to hide that
Mary's
window
father
because
took her
I'm...
for a ride in a bumper car. Animals weren't allowed on,
Not that one.
so Mungo and Midge watched Mary enjoying herself.
I've got the journal
Midge
open because I
heard a
need to
man
find some
calling
more
out.
details.
Roll up, roll and bowl a penny a pitch. Roll up, roll and bowl a penny a pitch. Midge wanted to know what the man meant. He saw some brown things on tall stands. He watched a boy throwing a ball at them. Midge had to find out what they were. Mind the balls, Midge. It's a coconut. The boy's trying to knock it off. Midge got away
Not
just in
fill
time,
it.
because with his next throw, the boy knocked the
Not
coconut
fill
off
it.
the stand. Then Midge thought he ought to find Mary and Mungo.
There we go.
But there were so many people at the fair.
205, 206,
Midge
336.
ran
Okay.
in and out through their feet,
205, 206,
and none of the feet
336.
belonged to Mary or to Mungo. Mungo was having a game trying to roll a ball into a hole. There were 3 holes. Missed. Try again, Mungo. He's done it. Mungo's really getting very good at this game. Once more, Mungo. Good. Midge was still looking for Mary and Mungo, but still he couldn't see them anywhere. Then he saw another man. A very big man shouting,
Test your strength, boys and girls. Have a bash with the hammer and see if you can ring the bell.
Midge stood in the grass and watched. It was very interesting. Every time someone hit the machine with the hammer, a block of wood shot up towards the bell, which was at the top of the machine.
Come on, try your strength,
said the man. And while he was talking, Midge jumped onto the block of wood. A boy took the hammer.
6 and 3.
Every time he hit with it, up went Midge on the block of wood. And down again. It was great fun. It was just like being in the lift at home, only much faster.
No one's strong enough to ring the bell,
said the man.
I'll show you how to do it.
Midge looked up. Then he saw that if the block of wood hit the bell,
You knew that someone without
he
fingers
would
could be
get
so good
caught.
at bowling, good grief.
He jumped off. Oh, just in time. Midge was all right, but he still couldn't find Mungo and Mary. He looked on the swings. He looked on the roundabout. He looked at the bumper cars. He heard someone calling out.
Hot dogs! Hot dogs! Hot dogs with mustard!
Thought Midge.
Mungo's a dog, but he's not a hot dog, and he doesn't like mustard.
Then Midge saw that the hot dogs were really sausages in bread rolls. They smelt so good it made Midge feel quite hungry. But he was no nearer finding Mungo or Mary. Midge looked at the next stall. It was called a hoopla stall. There were lots of things standing on a shelf. There were bottles and bowls. And in the bowls there were goldfish. One of them swam over to look at Midge.
I've lost my dog. Have you seen him, please?
But the goldfish said nothing. Midge didn't know the goldfish were prizes, and that Mary was trying to win one. She had to throw a hoop, and if it landed over the bowl, she won a goldfish. Try again, Mary.
That's 526.
Better luck next time. There, you won a prize. You won Midge.
You're the best prize I've ever had, Midge. We thought we'd lost you.
Midge always turns up in the end.
Just in time. We've got to go soon.
So they had a last look round the fairground. Then it was time to go home. They soon got back to the block of flats where they live. Mary went with her parents to put the car away. They told Mungo and Midge to go up together in the lift.
Hey.
When Mary got back to the playroom, Mungo was eating his supper. But Midge was far too excited to eat anything. He was pretending he was still at the hoopla stall.
I've won! I've won Mungo as a prize.
Midge, behave yourself. You must never disturb a dog when he's eating. And you're not at the fair now.
Thank you, Mary.
But we can still see the fair from the window. Look. Tomorrow morning, the gypsies and the fair will all be gone. But never mind. I expect they'll come back again. Next year.
One of these days I'll be commissioning Pixie to
The
just
town is full of buildings.
do me
Some
like
tall,
a
some
model
short, some
of
wide,
just of the show
and
notebook.
some narrow. The buildings are flats and houses and factories and shops. They're built in streets. The streets have cars and buses and lorries driving along them. The cars and buses and the streets are full of people. In fact, there are a lot of people in a town. Do you live in a town? Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in this town. They live with Mary's mother and father in this tall block of flats. They live right at the top. There are 8 flats built on top of each other. Mary, Mungo, and Midge live in the flat with the flowers growing in the window box.
205,
There's Mary.
282.
There's Mungo, and there's Midge.
Sorry I'm not saying much. I really ought to
Mary,
talk
Mungo,
about
and
what I'm
Midge
actually reading
have a
here.
large sunny room to play in.
Let
A
me
room
see,
full of games and toys and picture books. Mary's always got something to do. At the moment, she's building her toy farm.
That's the...
Mungo is helping her.
There. The farm's almost finished. We've got the farmhouse and a
182.
cow shed and some pigs in the farmyard and some chickens and a field with a tractor in it. And now I think we ought to have a horse in the field.
What about a dog? I'm sure every farm has a dog.
There's a dog.
That's a funny-looking dog.
He's a farm dog. He helps the farmer bring in the cows from the field.
This farm hasn't got any cows.
It has now. The farmer's just been to market to buy these. They're going to eat some grass in this field. And now the
But
farmer
perhaps there's
and the
supposed to be a
dog
mention
are
of
going to take them into the
something
cowshed
to do
because
with
it's milking time.
Philip's upbringing on this
What?
page, but I
Milking
can't find
time?
it.
Milk comes from cows, Midge, and every day at the same time the farmer takes the cows into their shed and milks them.
You mean the milk we drink comes from cows?
Yes.
Are there mice on this farm?
I expect so, but they just live there. They don't help the
Here we
farmer
go.
like the dog.
I tell you, there's a very special mouse on this farm.
No, there isn't. Midge Mouse is Mary's other friend. He's
Let's
quite
just try and
small
find
and
some
runs very
details.
quickly, so he's usually very difficult to find.
336.
He's probably looking for his flute. Midge likes music, but he's only learned to play
336. That
one
was a
tune so
mention
far.
of, like, Philip seeing
There
off,
he is. You listen.
of, like, consoling Eliza. Whilst Angelica was leaving, I think it was.
It was the middle of the morning, and just as Midge finished, Mary's mother came in with their milk. A mug of milk for Mary, a bowl for Mungo, and a saucer for Midge.
Right, so I found a detail saying that Philip went to boarding school in 1791. Whenabouts in 1791 did this take place? Sort of
Mary's
mid-May
mother wanted some
1791,
extra
sort
milk.
of?
She brought in the shopping basket with some money in it and a note to ask the man in the dairy for a pint bottle of milk. Perhaps Mungo would go to the shop and get the milk for her. And perhaps he would get some chocolate too. Mungo's quite good at shopping, but Midge thought he ought to go with him. As they live in a flat right at the top of the
Hang on,
building,
what have I
they go down to the
whereabouts is
street
this?
by
This is-
lift. They have a special way of doing it.
Is that page 523?
Don't be long, boys.
I don't think so. It's talking about events in 1797. I need 1791.
We must remember to make sure the lift door is shut. But as usual, Midge was in
363.
too much of a hurry. He had seen his friend the errand boy on his bicycle. He was already on his way to the dairy.
Midday night 1791. Knowing that Hamilton had brought down the book, Philip
They
Schuyler
passed the greengrocer,
Philip Schuyler begged Eliza
And the
before
printer.
Children's plus the orphan Fanny Ackle to join him
And
in
the clock
Albany
shop.
for the summer.
and they
So,
stopped when they got to the dairy. Midge
so
couldn't buy
there's
the
an
milk
inaccuracy.
because Mungo had the money.
It wasn't.
So he waited outside, among the milk
wasn't
bottles.
Eliza that tried to convince
It was
family
then
to go.
that he saw the machine.
So,
It
hang
said
on.
it was a milk.
Sorry about that.
He felt in his pocket for some money.
Let me see.
Midge was
Where was
very
the
excited
window
and
capture?
very
Display
interested.
capture even. Here it is.
The boy
So-
put some money in the machine and pressed a button.
It was.
Now what? He pulled at a drawer, and out came a carton of milk. Goodness me! I thought milk came from cows. Midge knew that real cows were quite big like horses. If milk came from cows and this machine was full of milk, did it mean that a cow was kept inside the machine? Midge wondered how an animal as big as a cow could get into this machine. He was still thinking about it when... Mungo arrived. Where's that mouse? Here I am, Mungo. How does the cow get into the machine? What cow? The cow that gives the milk to this machine. Oh, the cow lives on a farm a long way away in the country. The farmer sends the milk from his cows to a factory. The milk
That's
is
that
put into
detail
cartons,
added. So now
and the cartons
I've
are
got
put
7
into
more
the
minutes time
machine.
to read. So where is it?
Can we get our milk
Hide
out
the
of the
display
machine?
capture. Here we go. Right.
No. We've been told to get a bottle of milk in the dairy. The man who serves in the shop knows Mungo. He read the note and put a bottle of milk in the basket. Now I've got the money and you've got the milk. Goodbye, Mungo. Mungo walked out of the shop. He looked round for Midge. But all he saw was a lot of milk cartons coming out of the machine. One of them fell out, then another, and another. And nobody was putting any money into the machine. The man from the dairy looked out of the door. The machine's gone wrong. I'll have to get the key and open it up and look inside. But Mungo thought he knew what was wrong. Midge had been very interested in that machine. Midge must have got inside it. Mungo barked. Midge would hear and know that he must stop. But inside the machine, Midge was enjoying himself too much to listen to Mungo. He'd found a lever which made the milk cartons drop down one at a time. Each time Midge pulled the lever, one of the
That's
cartons
Not
fell
really
out of the
detail
machine.
I need. Goodbye. I'm leaving to a different live stream. It's kind of a faux pas to say that, Geography Master.
Mungo barked louder. He knew that the man would soon be back with the key to the machine.
I still can't find any detail about Philip Schuyler being that much of a well-spoken poet.
Oh dear, that's Mungo calling me.
I thought it was like all cats are basically lactose intolerant.
Oh, did I make all that milk come out?
Yes, you did. And now it's all got to be put back in the machine.
Oh, I see. Yes. Perhaps we ought to go and buy the chocolate. Quickly.
Midge ran to the sweet shop. Outside was another machine. This one had bars of chocolate in it. Mungo remembered the chocolate machine. He must get there before Midge had time to get inside that, too.
Hurry up, Mungo. Can I have some money to put in this machine?
Only if you promise not to get inside it. Here you are. So, Midge jumped onto Mungo's nose, held up the money, pushed it into the machine, and out came a bar of chocolate. Then he did the same thing all over again. We've spent all the money. Now we must take these home. Yes, you can go in the basket, but mind you don't eat the chocolate.
You buried the certified Chad. What makes me a Chad this time? So I
There's
think
some more
this seems to be
machines in
implying
there.
that...
Can we stop and watch?
It was a laundrette shop where people washed their clothes. They watched a lady put some dirty clothes into the machine. Then she put in some soap powder. Midge watched her close the lid and put some money in the slot. Then the machine started washing the clothes.
Let's go inside the shop and have a better look.
No, I expect you would fall into the machine and then you'd get washed. You wouldn't like that, would you?
Right,
No. But look over there. There's a man in that box. And there's a machine in there, too. He's putting money into it.
It's a telephone.
Hello. How are the children? He's talking to somebody. Perhaps we could telephone Mary and tell her we're coming home.
We haven't any money left, and we must hurry back with the milk and chocolate. When they got home, Mary was still playing with her farm. The pigs and the chickens were in the farmyard. The tractor was in the field with the cows and the farmer and his dog.
Hello, Mary.
Hello, Midge. How did you get on?
We had great fun, Mary. There was a milk machine and a...
And the less said about that, the better. Here's the milk, Mary.
And we saw a washing machine and a talking machine.
Telephone.
Telephone and...
Well, Midge?
And a chocolate machine. That was the best of all. Wasn't it, Mungo?
this actual letter itself. That's enough of that. Well, it's 9 o'clock. I'd call that relatively productive. I mean, I only got through Cabinet Battle 1 and some of Take a Break, but hey, at least partly because I got slightly obsessed with finding some evidence of Philip Hamilton Senior's poetic prowess. Good grief. Well, that's that. Okay, so semi-productive, I suppose, is better than completely unproductive. So I shall go ahead, see if the person I was intending to raid is still streaming. Okay. Yeah, so Yume is still currently BRB. So you know, I will put Yume in here. And paste it in there. Check. Let me just check that Yume is actually she/her. I think. Yume is she/her. I'm just kind of waiting. 3 hours of Jackbox? Actually, I was thinking about doing Fall Guys with people. Tomorrow. How does that sound? Oh, Yumi's back. Nice. Okay, right then. Let's go ahead and raid, shall we? Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and raid this person, Yume. Good stream, guys. See you later.